Patch 1.1 is just a month away, and with it comes a new story, new characters, new loot, and new things to do. If you want to make sure that you're able to participate in patch content on day 1, you'll need to be caught up. So here are 5 essential tips to prepare for patch 1.1 in Genshin Impact. Number 1. If you haven't already, make sure to go and collect all the Anemoculus and Geoculus that you can find on the map. There are 65 Anemoculus on the map and 131 Geoculus on the map, but in order to max out the statues for both regions, you only need to collect 64 Anemoculus and 130 Geoculus, meaning there are 1 extra of both. The task itself is quite tedious, however, with the help of this interactive map, you will be able to track all of the Anemoculus and the Geoculus on the map, and for everyone you find, you can go ahead and click on it and check it off on a list as long as you are signed into a Google account. This means that you can keep track of all of the Anemoculus and Geoculus that you found and know exactly which locations you've done and which ones you need to go to next. It makes grinding these out much easier than if you were to go in blind. So make sure to use your resources. Once you have collected all the Anemoculus and Geoculus, you should be able to get both of your statues for both regions to max level, which should max out your stamina and make it so you are ready to run to any objective you need to when the new patch drops, and it's just easier to get around the map that way. This brings us to number 2. Make sure to save your fates if you're hoping to get those new characters. MiHoYo recently confirmed that the pity timer for legendaries does carry over to new banners. We do know some new characters will be coming, and we do know some new banners will be coming because of the leaks, so you can expect some really cool new 5 stars to be coming out. If you're already, let's say, 50 pulls into the Venti banner, and you have a bunch of intertwined fates, and you want to make sure that you get Zhongli when he drops, save those intertwined fates, because that means when he comes out, you'll already have the pity timer at 50, and whenever you do end up actually getting legendary, whether it's before the timer or at the timer, it will be much sooner than if you were to get a legendary on the Venti and start having to roll again. As far as we're able to tell right this second with all the leaks, we know 4 new characters are coming to the gacha, but I'm sure we can expect more when the patch actually does drop outside of the leaks. So if you're hoping to get some new characters, make sure to save those fates. Next up is number 3. It's all fine and dandy to get your main squad up to a pretty high level, but when you start to really plateau, consider leveling up some alternate characters, ideally ones with different elements. As you get higher and higher level on your main characters, you're going to need to farm a lot of instances, and for solo players, you need a really versatile party. If you're like me and used co-op a lot, it's even better because you're flexing roles and you're flexing on other players when you go ahead and switch over to a different character that you wouldn't normally use. Leveling alternate characters will be extremely helpful in the coming content, so make sure to get on it so that way you can stay ahead of the curve. And speaking of instances, this brings us to our number 4, which is to farm Ascension materials for every day of the week in excess, so that way you have extra for the new characters coming and for your alternate characters now. As previously mentioned, we know that at least 4 characters are coming to the gacha, and we do know that 1 character is likely going to be given out for free. This being the case, we want to make sure to optimize our time spent beforehand so that way we don't fall behind when new characters come out, and we want to make sure to keep those characters up to speed with the rest of our party. This doesn't mean you have to start farming right this second, but over the next month, pay attention to your resin, and if you have any extra resin, make sure to go get that day of the week's materials. I'm telling you right now, even with the resin changes coming, it's going to feel good to have your characters already at level 70 plus on day 1. And finally, last but not least, is number 5. Make sure to finish up all of those Archon and story quests before the new patch drops. If you're here now, I'm assuming you're already pretty far in the game, but if you haven't yet by chance, make sure to go finish your Archon story because the new patch is going to kick off from where the main story left off. Not to mention the character's story quests will get some additions as well, and we know that there will be new side quests added to the game, so if you're going for that completionist run, you want to get those out of the way before the patch drops so it's less work for you to end up having to cram. And when you're done with those, go to that interactive map that we mentioned before and go find all of those world quests because that gives you a ton more to do if you ever get bored. That about wraps this video up, but do make sure to stick around because I have one more tip for you. Find your Genshin Impact shortcut. Right-click it and go to Properties. Then, following on screen, go to Open File Location. Open up your Genshin Impact data folder. Open up your Persistent folder. Open up Asset Bundles. Click on this Blocks folder and delete it. When it asks for administrator permission, go ahead and say yes. You can thank me later.